Hey guys, Insomnia here with some more AFK Arena. Before we get into the video, go ahead and click the subscribe button, turn on notifications, let me know in the comments what you think. Today we're going to be looking at Rigby the Brewmaster, which is going to be a brand new Lightbearer hero. And the second hero they're adding is Cecilia, the Purger of Sins, which is very similar to an Athalia style DPS hero. So let's go ahead and get into the video. But it looks like we do have two new heroes that are going to be joining the Lightbearer faction. Cecilia is the first one, the Purger of Sins. Don't have any pictures or anything for her right now. Have a little bit of lore, some stats. So let's look at her hero skills as well as her signature item. She reminds me a lot of Athalia, the celestial hero. Cecilia summons a divine blade down upon the head of the enemy, which currently has the most symbols of sin above their head. So remember that, symbols of sin, because it's actually going to be incorporated in one of her other skills. Dealing 280% damage to them and further increasing the number of symbols above their head by 1. So it's going to stack symbols. When this ability is used, enemies marked with 3 or more symbols, the enemy will also be stunned for a period. So not only is she going to do, seems like a truckload of damage, but she will also do a stun. If used against enemies marked with 5 symbols, it'll deal 200% damage. Level 2, 300. Level 4, 320% damage. So her ultimate is going to do a ton of damage and stun, which is going to be great. I'm not sure if it's just going to stun one enemy or if it's going to stun, because it says the enemies marked with 3 or more symbols. So if you're actually marking a couple enemies, you could actually stun a whole lot of enemies with the Judgment Day ability. The second one is the Blade of Purification. Cecilia initiates a 3-stage attack on an enemy, which we've seen in other heroes, which deals 70% damage to the target. Each time the ability is used, increases the enemy's symbols of sin. So that's where the symbols are going to come in by 1. So I'm not sure if it's just the time the ability is used or if it's all 3 stages. We'll have to see. The damage caused by this ability is increased by 10% for every symbol the enemy is marked with. Enemies may be marked with a maximum of 5 symbols, which we know from the Judgment Day ability. Any symbols 3 or higher will be stunned. Level 2, the ability cooldown is ignored every time a normal attack produces a critical strike. So she's going to be very, very reliant on critical strike damage. And then 3 and 4 is 80 and 90% damage respectively. Third skill we're looking at is the Atonement skill. Cecilia does not appear immediately at the beginning of battle, but instead appears behind the enemy that mirrors her formation position. So again, kind of like Athalia, where it just targets the hero that is directly across from her. She'll actually just appear right in the other side, which would be interesting if you're fighting Athalia to see if she just shows up on the other side. But that'll be nice to have her on the other side. I just don't know if they're going to focus her down or how strong it's going to be. But she'll unleash a 3-stage attack on them, dealing 80% of damage per attack to them while also marking them with 2 symbols of sin. So the Blade of Purification is going to stack 1 at a time. This one's going to stack 2. Second level enemies that kill an allied hero are marked with 3 symbols. And then the level 3 ability, damage of each attack is raised to 100% damage per attack. So again, going to be a huge melee DPS. Final one is the Devil's Trap. Cecilia creates a divine circle that encompasses her enemies. All enemies within the divine circle have their attack rating reduced by 60%. That is a huge, huge debuff. First time each enemy tries to exit the circle will cause them 220, level 2, 240, or 260% damage. So it seems like not only is she going to be able to stun, her Atonement and Blade Purification and Judgment Day abilities are going to do a ton of damage, as well as Devil Trap. Her signature item, Sacred Book of Cleansing. So looking at it, all allies, including Cecilia, recover 200 energy points in total, equivalent of 200% worth of Cecilia's attack rating as health over 5 seconds whenever she uses her Judgment Day ability, when the ability Judgment Day kills an enemy in less than 5 seconds. So really looking at doing huge burst damage if you have to kill an enemy in less than 5 seconds once she uses it. Level 10, same, the 200 energy points and 250% worth of Cecilia's attack rating is health. Level 20 unlocks 300%, and then level 30, Cecilia's health recovery rate is increased by an additional 50%. So it seems like out the gate, she's just going to be a super high DPSer with the ability to heal her team with her ultimate ability. So if an enemy dies within 5 seconds of her casting Judgment Day, they're going to go ahead and get a nice heal. So a truckload of damage and a whole lot of heal as well as some CC. And Lightbearer faction just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. After adding Gwyneth, after adding Rowan, after adding Rosaline, it just seems like the Lightbearers are going to be the faction to go with because they are stacking the heroes. Let's take a look at the second one. Rigby, the Brewmaster, he's actually a strength, another Lightbearer. So again, adding another one, DPS Lightbearer. His 4 skills, we'll kind of go over it, and then his signature item. They do have a picture of him where Cecilia doesn't have anything yet. Couldn't find anything online for pictures of her, so hopefully pretty soon. His ultimate ability, the Barrel Bomb. Wrigley heroes his barrel towards an enemy, which deals 150% damage on impact. Wrigley then throws his pipe into the leaking contents of the barrel, causing it to explode and dealing 200% AoE damage to nearby enemies. So as a DPSer, he's going to be doing AoE damage, just like Belinda. Enemies close to the explosion are set alight for 8 seconds and suffer another 30% damage. Then level 2 and 3, explosion damage increased at 250% and 300%. So his ultimate is going to do a ton of damage and also AoE damage and do a dot for 8 seconds, suffering another 30% damage. Second ability is the Fire Breath. Rigby takes a large swig of his drink and spits it back out at nearby enemies, dealing 120% damage, also causing their accuracy to be reduced. So if you have some heroes that are very high on dodge, this will be good to partner them with. Second level increases damage up to 150. Third level will do accuracy for 7 seconds, and the final 4th level is up to 180% damage. So an ability to definitely a debuffer. Third ability is Drunken Frenzy. Rigby drinks himself into a Drunken Frenzy, which reduces all the damage he receives by 20% and also increases his haste. So not only damage is he's going to be attacking a lot faster. The effects of Drunken Frenzy can stack up to 3 times, meaning 60% damage reduction, with the third time causing Rigby to become even more enraged, further increasing his haste by 65% for 8 seconds. Level 2, damage is reduced by 30% each ability, so that, think about it, stacking 3 times, that's a 90% damage reduction on a DPS hero, which is going to be huge. And then as final, level 3 crit rating is increased by 30% each time the ability is stacked. So you're reducing his damage by 90%, increasing his crit rating by 90%. Seems like that's kind of a win-win right there, because they're not going to be able to kill him while this Drunken Frenzy ability is up. We still do have his final ability and his signature item. Well rested, after the effects of Drunken Frenzy have worn off, Rigby will recover 12% of his maximum health per second for 5 seconds. Level 2 is health recovery rate is increased by 50%, and then level 3 is 80%. So not only is he going to become almost immune, similar to Brutus with a 90% damage reduction, his damage is going to go through the roof when he has Drunken Frenzy up, and when he's done, he's going to go ahead and heal himself. So that seems, again, like a pretty strong combination, as well as his AoE damage and his burning. But it gets better with his signature item. Rigby's Fire Breath ability will now trigger an additional explosion on enemies currently set alight by the Barrel's bomb, resulting in 180% damage being dealt to them. So doing even more damage with his fire breathing ability as long as they are set ablaze. So if they got a dot, it's going to do a truckload more damage with Fire Breath. Level 10 does 210% damage. Level 20 does 250% damage. And also big stun. Explosions now cause enemies to be knocked down and stunned for 3 seconds. So if you have pairing him someone like Rosaline, that's going to give him the ability to get his ultimate off way faster, and even putting some artifacts on him to get his energy up faster, he is just going to be a monster when it comes to damage. It's going to be very interesting to see. No release date on this, no update or anything that I've seen so far, but 2 new Lightbearer heroes. In his little art, there he is, the Brewmaster Rigby. So super excited to see a couple new heroes. Again, the Lightbearers faction is getting a whole lot of love as they continue to just add to the arsenal of Lightbearers. I've been actually saving my faction scrolls for a while, and Lightbearers is going to be where I'm spending them, still trying to level up Gwyneth. So let me know in the comments what you think. I know a lot of other factions, especially I'd say Maulers, need some love. I know they got some new heroes lately, but it seems like a lot of people still focus on Lightbearer heroes. But we'll have to see how good they really are when we actually get to test them. Thank you guys for watching.